Today I'm reviewing Agricola, yes, but I'm also being tricky because it is not the Agricola that you're thinking of. It is Agricola, Master of Britain. This is a game about politics and warfare in the 1st century of the current era, and you are Agricola, but Proconsul Agricola that was sent to deal with Britain, with hostile and unfriendly tribes of Britain in the 1st century during the at the times of the Roman Empire, and you're trying to pacify these rebellious regions, and you're trying to build infrastructure to create good diplomatic relationships, and from time to time you engage in the good old school battle in which a lot of blood is shed. And then you wonder, why are they unfriendly to me? I don't get it. Anyways, this is the task that you have in this game, and you, yes, you singular, because this is a solitaire game. It is a fairly abstract game, but in a sense it reminded me of some victory point games like those in the State of Siege game series, mainly because of the really remarkable balance between abstract mechanics and yet still a good sense of theme, especially when the theme is one that in a sense is abstract already in nature, which is about politics. So it is about feelings and emotions and impressions and favor, but a very large scale. It is about spending large capitals, so there is an abstract element there in the theme, and so you have a design in the State of Siege games, and also here you have a design system that captures that manages to be quite simple, quite abstract, and yet somehow magically, mysteriously quite thematic. Let's take a closer look at Agricola, Master of Britain. The game is played on these two displays here. Here you have a strategic map with the general situation of the mess that you are in. There are markers that indicate the position of your legions, a marker for Agricola, the man himself, and then we have boxes where we will place tribes of enemy units. The number that you see there is the resistance, that is the number that they use when they are defending against your attempts to suppress them. Locations are connected by lines, and locations that are connected by double lines are connected by better roads, and they count as adjacent to one another. During the game, you will move your legions and Agricola going around and engaging with these people that just don't seem to be willing to acknowledge the superiority of Roman rule. Here we have a couple of tracks. Action track, very important. Each turn, starting from the second, you will receive 5 actions. The first turn you only get 3. And pretty much you spend your actions to perform things here on the board, to adjust various stats. So very open-ended, very free turn structure, as you can take actions in any order, in any combination, as long as you have the resources to perform them and you still have actions available. Income track, income and treasury, very important, also because if your treasury goes down to 0, you lost all of your money. That's one of the many ways in which you can lose the game, and you will spend your money for a variety of things. Victory point track and game turn record track. The game may last up to 8 turns if you're lucky and good enough to survive that long, because as you can see here, there is a minimum requirement of victory points that you need to meet or exceed each turn. At the end of each turn, you need to have at least 3 victory points. At the end of the second, 8, 13, and so on and so forth. If you do not meet the requirement, well, you guessed it, that is another way in which you may lose the game. Then we have the second display here, where we keep the military units that form our legions. As you can see, there is a box corresponding to each legion. Legion 2 is the Augusta, Legion 20, it has that box there. So we know that these units are effectively in there, which is more convenient than to stack them in the space where you had the legion marker. We have pools for the force pool, and that pool and this thing here, this display here, is used to resolve large battles. Then the really important element of the game, the engine of the game really, is those 4 cups there. Yeah, you see a little bit of mess around here because I played the game on the desk of my home office, and that's where I'm filming. In these 4 cups, you will place enemy markers that are used in various circumstances, and the cups need to be placed in a specific order, and they are designated differently. Now, as you can see, I use color-coded yogurt cups that work perfectly. Don't tell my wife that sometimes I try a flavor of a yogurt just because I think, oh, I still need to add that color to my pool of opaque containers to use as randomizers in board games. This cup here is the hostile cups. These guys really hate your guts. These are the unfriendly people. They don't talk to you, or when they meet you by the street, they say, "Oh, what's up?" But you can tell they don't like you all that much. The friendly people return your phone calls, send you a card for the holidays, and then these are used to resolve battles. A very interesting idea here is that there will be a lot of actions that will influence the composition of these cups. For example, if you take certain actions that are unpopular, you are instructed to draw a number of markers from the unfriendly cup and put it in the hostile. If you're able actually to make friends, you will transfer them from the unfriendly to the friendly, and so on and so forth, so that the composition will change. These are enemy markers. We showed that they have a resistance number. The art is very simple but quite pleasant, and they have a name that indicates the space on the board where they're usually placed. Caledoni, for example, go there. Damnoni, go here, and so on and so forth. Now, we said that you have several possible actions in the game. A simple action is the suppression action. You're trying to reduce the presence of these people on the board. They don't represent the peaceful people. Basically, if they're on the board, they are annoyed already, or at least they are potentially dangerous. Also here you only see regular troops. There are also leaders, which are special units. When they're placed in a certain area, they make things hard for you in the entire area, and particularly in the box in which they are. Now, the suppression action, you move to an adjacent area where you want to perform the suppression action. You roll a die. The game uses an 8-sided die. You roll it, and if the number that you roll is higher than the resistance of the top unit in the box where you're attempting the suppression is successful and you eliminate that unit. If Agricola is with the unit that is also with the legion that is attempting the suppression, then a further unit is also removed. And you think, well, that's great, that's powerful. Yes, but again, this is politics, or at least there is a political action, and everything that you do has a political reaction. So after you attempt a suppress action, you move a marker from the unfriendly cup to the hostile cup. And after that, you draw 2 markers from the hostile cup and you add them to the board. What happens then has a lot of if-then situation. I'm not gonna get into details. If the box is empty, the box where the tribe will go, Parisi to Parisi, then you simply add it there. If the box has a legion, the enemy pulverizes. You simply don't add it. That was easy. And there are a lot of other if-then circumstances. I won't get into the details because they may sound confusing if I just read the list of if-that stipulations. Start the game, keep the rulebook in front of you, follow the if-then flowchart, and that will become familiar to you. There are other possibilities. At least I want to mention the fact that there may be garrisons and settlements on the board. The settlements may have 2 levels. One has a +2 printed on it, and the other side has a +3. +3 are better. If the units that you pull from the cup are attempted to enter a space that has a settlement or a garrison, there is a procedure. Basically is a fight, is a mini battle in which you determine if the settlement or region manages to survive, or garrison manages to survive. Speaking of garrisons, yes, you may detach a part of your army where you are and turn a unit into a garrison, as you can see. The peacekeeping action, you don't really do anything, but at least you get to adjust the cups by drawing a unit from the hostile cup and dump it into the unfriendly cup. And after that, for some reason, an hostile unit comes out of this. That's how you ungrateful people react when I'm trying to be peaceful. You can also simply pass, which is not as passive as you may imagine. It just represents a period of peaceful ruling, and simply then you forfeit one or more of your actions and you score victory points based on that. And guess what? Even then somebody is gonna be annoying and is gonna try to enter the confrontation. It is gonna get out of the hostile cup and onto the board. An interesting thing, there are a lot of if-then things to regulate what you do and what you can do and what applies to you, but also these people, not only do they hate your guts, but also they're not particularly friendly to one another. There's an interesting situation in which if you have a pile of multiple tribes of the same type in a box, and there isn't a leader to keep them in check, they will start attacking each other. Then you look at the back of the rule book where there is this player aid here. Well, you have a really nice, neat player aid here. But you look at this section here, the internecine, not sure how it's pronounced, as I will call it, just tribes beating the snot out of each other table. You look at the tribe that has that pile of units, and you check what is the primary target, the one that they would like to destroy, and if the primary target is not on the board, then you look at the secondary target. For example, the Brigantes would like to eliminate a Votadini, and if they cannot find one, a Cornovi. And look at that. We eliminate a Cornovi unit because these guys just have killed their little brothers. So there are all of these interesting elements here. Now, combat. The game has a pretty interesting tactical element when it comes to battles, which occur when you are attacking a group of 3 or more enemy units. In which case, you look at this other table, the tribal formation table, you roll a die, you apply modifiers, you cross-reference the modified die roll with the column representing the tribe that you're attacking, and that tells you the actual number of units that will be present. Say we're gonna attack nine people. Usually you're the attacker, so you have the initiative. In some cases they ambush you and they go first. This cup here is used to draw the units that will actually go on this section here that represents the battle at the tactical level. Suppose we said that we're gonna face 9 enemies, then we draw 9 markers. This side here with the red edges is only used in a special battle. And then after we draw, we place them here on this display in order as we draw them, starting from 1 and going up until we fill all the boxes corresponding to the number that we selected. We said 9, here it is, 9 it is. Then we take the soldiers belonging to the legions that we have in the battle, say it's these 2 legions, and we place them there. Maybe also we managed to recruit some other people, some locals that are now helping us. And so we add those 2. And so that's what we do. Probably when you do it, it will look a little nicer than that. But you get the sense. Then you start attacking. Basically, units will attack adjacent enemies of the attacking side, and then you roll. Then to attack, you roll a die. You add your attack value, and you're trying to beat the defense value of the unit that you're attacking. And then pretty much the opponent will do the same. They will roll a die, they will add their attack value, and your unit survives if the defense value is higher than the total, the total that is that has been produced by the opponent. So this type of battle is a little more complex, but it's nice to see that zooming in is nice to have that extra element in the game. So this is pretty much the general idea. You win by surviving all of the challenges of the game until the end of the 8th turn, and by eliminating a particularly nasty enemy that once on the board just does not want to leave. In order to eliminate him, you need to go through a special procedure with a special battle. You lose the game if you meet one of the many conditions for losing the game, which are part of the game. I mentioned State of Siege games in the introduction, and I think the parallel goes even deeper than that. The feel of playing the game is similar to what I had when I was playing those games, with two main differences. One is there are no cards here. The system is not card driven. It's all about pulling chits from opaque cups and manipulating the content of those cups, and I like that very much. When it comes to wargaming, actually chit pull is one of my favorite mechanics, although then again here is using a different way. This is not about activation chits that will tell me which units will go next, but it's about how people perceive you and the type of reinforcements that you're getting and the type of enemies that you're getting. You yourself, you can count on your 5 actions being there. In many chit pool war games, the point is that I do not know when my units are going to activate, so when I'm going to be able to attack with this or that force, if I'm going to be able to use that force at all. You can count on yourself. I have certain actions, so that I know I can spend them to do this or do this or do that. It is everything else around you which is influenced by the chit pool mechanic, and I like that quite a bit, because it creates a nice balance there between the unpredictability of what these people are doing, at the same time a certain degree of control, or at least a certain degree of prediction. Well, if I know a certain thing, I know that certain tribes, a certain number of tribes will become hostile, and I'm spending resources to make them hate me a little less. Now, I do not know exactly who is gonna be more or less hostile towards me, but I get a sense of where things are going. I would say at the larger picture, at the higher level, I get a sense of where things are going. But then when we get a little closer to the ground, or at the tactical level, but then I do not know yet which tribe exactly is gonna give me grief next turn. So I really like how the chit pool mechanic here is used in a way that is different from what I see in other chit pool games, and that really is the heart of the game. Then of course also you're rolling dice a lot, and that also reminded me of the State of Siege system, because you had die rolls which are very simple, very intuitive, very linear and straightforward in nature, and that convey a lot of theme. Then another different from the Stage of Siege system is that in the Stage of Siege system, people are coming to you to mess up what you're trying to do. Here you're going out there to intervene, you're pushing against them and moving your legions around. So there are these elements that if you like State of Siege games, I think you will enjoy, because there is enough here to create a certain family resemblance with the games in that system, while at the same time also having enough new elements that the game feels fresh. Now, the game is pretty intuitive and thematic once you get a hang on it, but it surprised me how long it took me. I thought I would be getting it faster when I saw that the rulebook was not long at all. But maybe it is the fact that there are some new concepts here, but that took me a little longer to absorb than I expected. But mainly really is the fact that the game is very thematic. Do not be fooled by the fact that there is an abstract element to it. Then the abstract mechanics really coalesce into a lot of individual cases that depend on what people will do in this or that circumstance. There are a lot of cases, some sub-cases and exceptions, etc., etc., etc. So you really have a lot of theme here, and so you have to be a little patient there as you learn of all the ways in which the mechanics will fit specific elements of the theme. The battle, when it comes to a natural battle with the tactical display, well, it's pretty impressive how you're zooming down to such a specific level to really about, you really see this guy attacking that guy, and it really is about placing people in a position in the line rather than another. By the way, clarification, I think I made a mistake when I explained the rules. I think I misspoke when I talk about the battle. When you defend, you put together the total of the people you're defending against, and that is what, after you add a die roll, needs to exceed the defense of your unit that is being attacked. But the general idea remains the same, that you roll for each element in the line that is attacking, and then you roll for each element in your line that is defending, fill in the gaps, move around. This or that version, even in the previous explanation, I think you got a general sense of how it works. And all of these things really work well together and work in an engine that gives you a lot of freedom. I really like the fact that that you do not have to follow a specific structure when it comes to your turn. Now we move, then we attack, then we do this, then we do that. Complete freedom. In that sense, it almost felt like a worker placement design, in the sense that you can select different actions. No, more than worker placement, it's really action point engine, as you have these actual resources, these actions, and then you have a very flexible menu of options that you can select in different combinations in different order. So you feel that you have a lot of agency there, which is very important, because then the system slams you with so many unexpected elements that are outside of your control, with this constant pressure, this constant avalanche of people that don't like you, that pop up everywhere, and you think you're already having a hard time surviving, then the big bad bosses show up and things get even worse. So I like the fact that on one hand you have a strong sense of agency, and on the other hand the game really puts a constant terrible pressure on you, especially due to the fact that you have this calendar of victory points that you constantly need to meet, which is very, very, very hard to meet, and you constantly feel like, oh, you're way up here in trouble, barely breathing, and then the big bad boss shows up. So fun system, good solitaire system, full of interesting decisions for you to make, full of challenges that you need to face, a lot of pressure that's constantly on you, which is good because that keeps you engaged with the design, and again, surprisingly, a lot of theme that shines through what at first sight seem to be extremely abstract, almost Eurogamey mechanics. So all good things. This is definitely a good game, definitely a good solitaire. If you're a fan of political and military games that have a lot of theme, a lot of meat, but they are still manageable when it comes to the mechanics of the game, well, look no further and take a closer look at Agricola, Master of Britain, because this is a good game and it has all of those good qualities. A lot of theme, interesting mechanics, a lot of player agency, and a lot of challenges. Overall, a really nice combination of things, of good things that you find in a small and manageable package. Agricola, Master of Britain. Very good, pretty strong design, very good solitaire game.